Hey everybody, we're Tillison Consulting and we love digital marketing, and you're listening to the Inside Digital podcast. This is your one-stop shop to learn and expand your knowledge within the digital marketing space. It's never been more important to have an online presence, and in this show, our experts will talk about SEO, PPC, and everything in between. They'll share their personal insights, experiences, and strategies they're taking advantage of so the rest of us can do the same. Here's today's episode.
Hi guys, my name is Nick. I'm the SEO strategist here at Tillison Consulting, and with me is
Mark Tillison. I'm the MD. I've been working with e-commerce stores and SEO more specifically for over 10 years. So it's going to be fun kind of going through a lot of these challenging questions we've got today.
So we're going to be discussing SEO for e-commerce. The title of it is Building a Solid Foundation for Growth, which I like. E-commerce itself, there are things you do differently in terms of SEO, but I think fundamentally the core principles of what makes SEO work can apply to both an e-commerce website and websites of other types, really. So to kind of dive right into it then, Mark, question for both of us, I guess, is what do we think are the key elements for on-page optimization when it comes to e-commerce websites?
I think if we start with the basics, a page is a page is a page, right? It doesn't matter whether that's a category page or a blog post or a product page or whatever that might be. So the standard things you want to look at are the title, description, and the content, H1, H2 tags, things like that, images. This is all kind of standard stuff. I think what can be a real challenge, particularly with e-commerce sites, is that it's quite often that you would have multiple products which are very, very similar, right? So if you have, let's say you have a website that sells extension cables, like, power extension cables, and you've got one that's 2 meter and one that's 4 meter and one that's 5 and one that's 10. Well, basically it's the same product, right? The image is going to be very, very similar. The title is going to be very similar, except it says 2 meter or 4 meter or 5 or 10. And the description, basically it's still white if it's a white cable, right? So you have these challenges of what makes this unique, or do I just kind of go, I just don't want to try and rank all of these things all the time. So when there are, we have this problem in SEO and search engines have this problem of duplicate content where the content just looks very, very similar. And that, I think, is a big challenge for on-page optimization. So I think anything you can do to add unique content to that page that is unique for that product. So the obvious thing you can do, which is probably the easiest, is if there are reviews and feedback about that specific product that are unique to that product, then it's unique content on that page. And of course, if they happen to mention that's a 2 meter cable, and it's a 2 meter cable, then that's really going to help. So I think that is a particular challenge. I think more recently we're seeing that the difference in kind of ranking product pages or not has been sometimes, not always. It depends, right? It always depends.
Yeah.
But I would certainly run some analysis on competing pages which are ranking better than mine to see the types of things they have on their page. And what you might find is that there is more helpful content, right? I went there, helpful content update, right? So, electrical cables, for example, are other websites, other product pages saying these are the safety features that you want to think about, and frequently asked questions. Can I use this outdoors? Can I use it indoors? How many things can I plug into it? What should or shouldn't I plug in? Should I have, do I need a surge protection thing? What else do people need to understand to make an informed decision about this purchase? So I think you might find that other sites are doing that kind of thing and their pages are outranking yours. So I would always kind of recommend, not just for SEO, but for conversion rate optimization, right? If I'm on your website trying to buy this thing and I don't really understand what that thing is because I've never bought one before, if I was physically stood in your shop and you came over and said, do you need some help? I would ask those questions. Well, I've got this and I might use it outside. Well, you need this product then. So all of those things to support me in my purchase decision are going to help with conversion rate optimization. You are going to sell more stuff from every click from your paid campaigns or organic, right? So why wouldn't you do that? It makes sense. But I think that stuff can also help to rank those pages.
Yeah.
But yeah, the big thing I think is it depends on your site, right? But if you've got lots of products which are very similar, that is a challenge in making the pages unique. But apart from that, as I said, the standard stuff like always applies. And sometimes when you do this stuff for a living, you kind of just take it for granted, but people miss it.
True.
Right? Unique title, unique description, make the description relevant. Your content on those pages, make it relevant, make it helpful to users. Don't kind of stuff all the keywords in there from, for everything.
Yeah.
And just try and make each of those pages unique.
Yeah.
I think.
I agree with that.
And then of course, kind of page speed kind of comes into it as well.
Of course, yeah.
We'll do a whole other show on page speed.
Oh God, yeah. No, I think you've a couple of things you said there that really stand out to me too. Is one, to just not be afraid of looking at competitors. Whenever I do training and coaching and I suggest that to people, they immediately get on the defense about that because people automatically assume that you're encouraging them to plagiarize competitor websites, but it's really not.
Heaven forbid.
No, it's really not, because you've got to
look at
think
the principles of what they're doing.
Exactly. Yeah. So Google is kind of ranking content based on how well it feels it suits a user-specific query, and the top ranking results are what they consider to be the most helpful answer. So the process of naturally improving your own page to be better is to just do what they're doing, but do it better. Take what already works, put your own spin on it, and do it even better. And that's going to have a really powerful result, I feel. But
yeah. I think we tend to call it a gap analysis. So we'll look at, I don't know how many links of other pages got to them that are outranking us or are slightly below us. We might do a word count as an indication, not necessarily a ranking factor or signal, but an indication that our content is really thin. So actually, every other page in the first 10 of the results has got like 1,500 words. God forbid on a product page you'd have 1,500 words, but if they have, then I wouldn't say you have to write 1,500 or, hey, 1,600 words, we're ranked number one. It doesn't work that way, right? So, but it would give me an indication that that's somewhere I need to look to think, actually, everyone else is clearly doing a lot more. We've got like 400 words. So if they've got 1,500 and we've got 400, it's not the case that we have to do 2,000 and hey presto, we're number one, but it is an area where I would consider that's an area I need to look. It's a signpost, not a solution, really.
Yeah.
So I would tend to do that. I think the other challenge, which is significant, is the changes in the SERPs, in the search engine results, and that's happening kind of frequently. So what we would want to rank that we think is the right answer to a particular query, Google doesn't always support that same thinking for every single query. A lot of the queries it might, but some don't. So it doesn't. So to give you an example of that, so if someone is searching for 20-meter extension cables, plural, to me, the right result to serve in the search engine results is a category page full of 20-meter extension cables, plural, right? But Google, in its infinite wisdom of understanding the user intent, then ranks a whole bunch of product pages, including my product page, for one specific 20-meter extension cable. But that isn't plural, it's one product. So I disagree that should be the thing it should be ranking. So, and we would have this with the client, and they go, but why would we rank the category page? Do more optimization, do more optimization. Doesn't matter how many links you build to that page or how much optimization, it's the wrong kind of result that Google is presenting. So it's very rare that you would rank a category page over a set of product pages when Google has decided, rightly or wrongly, that it wants to rank product pages for those queries. So sometimes you just have to go, look, my category page is optimized for that query, and there's loads of really helpful content, and it's really great, and I've got a whole bunch of different products, and it's the best place someone could land. If I was bidding on it in Google Ads, that's where I'd send them. But for SEO, I can't do that. Google just won't let me. So yes, optimize your category page, but accept it's not going to rank. And then whichever product out of the 20 different 20-meter cables you've got, whichever one it's deciding to rank, optimize that one.
Yeah.
So I get this like really annoying when this happens, but you're kind of going, well, we're 10th for this query and it's a product page. And you're like, but we haven't really invested time and effort in ranking, and optimizing that page. So actually it's not a very good page, therefore the ranking is low. Whereas my category page is great, and if you decided to rank a category page, I'll be number 1 or 2 because it's brilliant, it's amazing, it's the best result on the internet, right?
Yeah.
So that's really frustrating, and I think you just sometimes you have to roll with the algorithm and the decision that Google is making at that time, and optimize that product page, and then hope it doesn't go out of stock and you've wasted all your time. Although I suppose you could copy and paste that content onto the product that has replaced it, right? So you can kind of move that around. And it wouldn't be duplicate because the old product's gone, right? So I think that's a big thing to think about. And then the other thing, which is always this kind of things always change, is we're saying that today and we're going to do the optimization. In a week's time, Google has got enough data to say, you know what, actually category page is a better result, and suddenly the category page ranks again. We can't control that. No. You know, it's not possible for anyone to control that. But I think, you know, optimize the pages, make them unique and best practice of titles descriptions is probably the TLDR. You know,
as long as you're always going for relevancy, you can't go too far wrong. There's so many.
The user first, you know.
Of course,
who is this user? What are they buying? Why are they buying it for it? Why are they buying it? What use might they have for it? Go to Google and find, you know, the PAEs. What are people asking about these? About extension cables, or I don't know, moustache brushes or whatever the hell it is you sell on your site, right? It can be any beard oil or something, I don't know. Whatever it is. You know, what do people need to know about these products to make an informed decision? And if you're giving them more helpful content around there, then there's a good chance that's going to help you rank. Certainly not going to do you any harm, but I think it can only help the purchase decision, which means your conversion rate goes up and you make more sales. Hey, e-commerce store, surely that's what you want, right? Cool.
Definitely,
So talking about kind of revenue and stuff. So the second question is, what key metrics should e-commerce businesses use to measure SEO?
Yeah, well, I think obviously off the back of what you're just saying, the big one being, you know, conversions from organic traffic being the number one indicator that something's going right. That is the end goal of what you're trying to achieve. When anyone sets out to improve their SEO, it's on the basis that they want more business. So tracking what that's actually contributing to numerically from a conversion standpoint is really, really valuable. On a more sort of, on a level down from that, I think it's obviously important to track the number of clicks you're getting across to your priority pages from organic search itself. In this instance, you know, filter out the data that's coming from things like your paid advertising, maybe even referral from social media, just to put that in a silo and see how that's really performing is a good way to go with that. And the big one being is that keyword tracking itself. So if you're using a tool that enables you to track the positions of your key terms and key phrases that are really important to your business, are the ones that you really want to appear well for, seeing how you're placing for those. And that's a good way of knowing that your work is actually making a difference on those. Now, you made a really good point that we are at the mercy of Google. We can't decide what it considers to be good and what it ranks well, but there are things we can do to influence that. And I think that's quite an important key distinction to make when it comes to explaining SEO to people, is that we can't deal in those absolutes of this is definitely going to improve the rankings. It's more of a, we'll try this, this, and this, and this, and we'll keep it quite reactive.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the measurement is a real challenge because ultimately when you're measuring revenue, there are multiple factors that determine how much revenue you're going to get, right? It's not just you get traffic and you get sales, right? If the website looks awful, it's not going to convert, right? If the website looks great, but you're 20% more expensive for those products, it's not going to convert, right? So we're basically saying, oh, our revenue's down from SEO. Well, you bought your prices up 20%, right? That's not SEO's fault. That's not organic's fault, right? So there is an argument that says, actually, no, it's SEO's. We're just traffic. Just measure us on traffic, right? But in reality, for an e-commerce store, that you can't only measure that. So I think and this is why we kind of do a whole funnel. So it's not, we don't just do SEO, we do conversion rate optimization, right? So it's not just let's get more traffic, it's more about let's get more money, because that's what that's got to do. But so you have to take a two-pronged approach with that. So number one, yes, you can improve, you can optimize, you can build links, and you can do SEO, and you can get more traffic. It wouldn't be great if you increase your traffic by 20%, but you increase your conversion rate by 20% as well. So you're then getting more like 42 or 44% more revenue, rather than just going, hey, let's get more traffic, 20% more traffic, brilliant, yay, we've got 20% more sales. But actually, if you work on conversion rate optimization, then you are going to get more value from that SEO effort as well. So we typically take a two-pronged approach to that. So it's not just let's get more traffic, let's get more value from the traffic we already have and more value from the additional traffic that we're going to land. So, and then the other thing I would say is that we always have to talk about the multi-channel funnel, right? So what rarely happens, particularly with e-commerce, is someone searches, they click, they land, they add to cart, they buy, they leave, right? So it's very unlikely that anywhere near 100% of your traffic is going to go, came from paid, I bought something, came from organic, I bought something, I came from Facebook ads and I bought something, right? It's possible, it does happen, and you know, a high percentage of traffic for low value products, so things that are under 30-40 pounds, for example, those can convert in one click, and that would happen a lot. But you also have to remember, depending on your strategy, like with SEO, for example, you might be invested in ranking for product queries and ranking product pages. You might be invested in ranking category pages, but you might also be invested in content and ranking for informational search. So, you know, we were saying off air, for example, you know, I need to change the oil in my car. Well, okay, well, I need to know how to do that. But one of the things you might want is a head torch, and your store might sell head torches. So you would have that informational content, the answer to the question, how do I do this? And here's a recommendation for a torch, and someone might buy straight from there. Equally, they might go, oh, okay, I know how to do it, I'll go and do that. Oh, it's a bit dark, this is hard work. I know what I need a head torch, and then they go and search for a head torch, and you sell them, and you come up, and then you get another click through paid or organic. So now we've kind of we've introduced the idea of the solution to the problem with organic traffic, and then it converts from paid. So you've got to attribute part of that journey to organic, I think, as well. So that's important. It's not just how many keywords do I rank number one for, right? It's not just how many clicks did we get, or how many impressions did we get, how visible are we, or directly how much revenue it is. I think you've got to look at how that fits in the overall funnel as well. But yeah, the vanity metrics of, yeah, we're number one for like whatever. I mean, yeah, cool, great, brilliant. But you know what? I'd rather have 10,000 keywords where I was number two and making a load of revenue as an e-commerce store. I don't have that vanity of being number one. Like if I'm getting loads of traffic and we're making sales, that's the most important thing to me. And I can get around that vanity of, yeah, we've got the rich snippet. Yeah. Oh, don't get me wrong, I celebrate those things, right? I mean, you've heard me around the office, rich snippet, right? So we can get those things. Yeah. But I think it's really easy to get distracted with the wrong metrics.
I agree with that.
So, you know, it's like we have I'm not going to tell you what it is, but we have a famous blog on our site that I wrote years ago, and it gets like the most traffic of any of our blog posts, and it's not really the right kind of traffic. So we go, yeah, look, all our traffic's got up, and I find something's happened, and we've just got more traffic on this blooming blog that we don't care about. And, you know, so yeah, it's not, you can't just measure traffic.
No, that's it.
Because a lot of the traffic, you know, we get that particular blog post. The traffic that comes to our website for that blog post, there are lots and lots. I mean, it's huge numbers. None of it's valuable to us. No. So why would we use just traffic as a specific metric? So you've got to use a blend of how much more traffic are we getting, but also how much is that contributing to sales, which is important, and then invest in CRO, right? Because that's where the real goal is. 100%. That's what a lot of e-commerce just miss. A lot of e-commerce stores miss, I think. It's the CRO piece.
Yeah, no, that's it. I mean, there's no point spending all of your time and money and effort driving a higher value traffic to your website if the site itself is terrible. You know, if your page,
or investing time and effort and budget in getting low value traffic that never is going to convert.
True. That's it. Yeah, agree with that. Yeah, cool. So moving on from that then, quite a difficult one to tackle really, because there's so many ways you can go about this. Like I said, we're at the mercy of Google. They change up how they rank content, how they value it, how they read and understand it relatively often. When it comes to adapting to changes in their algorithm, what do you think a lot of people get stuck on? What do you think are the biggest pitfalls in that?
I mean, look, I think the only constant thing is change, right? So we just have to accept that Google's algorithm and other search engines are changing their algorithms all the time, right? But then they're not massive overhauls; they are small tweaks. And with every small tweak, like helpful content update, and that's what's kind of the most recent one, really. But even like Panda, Penguin, historically, and all of these changes, they don't affect every single website in the same way. They typically would affect certain categories of websites. So I think the answer is always it depends, right? Because it's like, do this and it works. Well, it does if you've got a blog site, but e-commerce maybe not. And this works on e-commerce page, product pages, but that's not the right thing to do for, I don't know, a local business that is an electrician or something, right? It's not, there isn't a one size fits all. The things that you do are going to be different, right? There's a lot of common things, like we said, the page is a page is a page, but there are different things if you're trying to rank locally. So I think you always have to remember the context of like these algorithm changes and recommendations and strategies. You can't just go, it worked for them, I'll do it, and it will do exactly the same. So the one thing I've always felt is, look, Google wants the same thing that you should want, right? Which is your user to have a good experience. So, regardless of like the helpful content update or whatever, if that's triggering you to then go, we need to create more helpful content or make our content more helpful or make it more unique. Well, actually, if you'd have been focused on that from the user's point of view in the first place, when the update came along, you would have won without doing anything because your content was more helpful. So I would always say, Google wants what's best for the user. You should want what's best for the user, because if you do what's best for the user as an e-commerce store, you're going to make more sales. If the user needs to understand how to make this purchasing decision to help your conversion rate and you put that stuff on there, whether or not that helps your ranking, it's definitely worth doing. And there's a reasonable chance that it is also going to help your ranking. If it's a better experience, a better demonstration of your knowledge, a better set of FAQs that says these are the things you need to think about, or actually is this the right product, here's a buying guide for extension cables or whatever it might be. Actually, I might not understand what this product is, I might not understand how to buy it. So if you can help me understand how to buy it and what the difference is between this product and that product and why I might choose them, that's what would happen in a physical store, right? If you walked into a hardware store, I'm going to mention any brands, but if you walked into one of those high street, well, not high street, but these big huge places, you'd kind of go, can I have some help, please? I want to buy this, and I'm buying a lawnmower. I've never bought one before. What do I need? What do I need to know? Do I get a wireless one? Do I get a corded one? Do I get a push along one like my granddad had? I don't know. I've never bought a lawnmower before, so help me choose one. But you can do that on a website. Otherwise, people just go click, oh, I don't know, click, don't know, click, don't know, click, don't know, and they just don't really understand what it is they're buying.
Yeah, true.
Or how to decide between X and Y. So if you can help them with that journey, I think that can certainly help that kind of SEO.
Definitely, yeah. And I think as well, if you're not giving them those answers to those questions, they're only going to go and find them somewhere else. So
and then you've lost the visitor.
There you go.
Right? You've lost the opportunity.
They've bounced from your page. They're onto a blog post from another competitor somewhere else, or they've gone on Reddit, or they're on Facebook searching for their answer. And then when they come back to that, they're doing their search again. And if you're not holding your positions well enough on like a month-to-month basis, they're probably going to land on your competitor and buy from them instead. So
yeah, that journey through, and again, this is different for different products, and different users will behave different ways. But if you think about this, well, my problem is the grass is getting long, my lawnmower's broken, and someone gave me a lawnmower, but I don't really know much about them. I need to buy one. I don't know how to buy one. So your first state is, how do I buy a lawnmower? And what type of lawnmower should I have? What size is my garden? Do I just get a Forrest Gump ride-on mower? I mean, we'd love one of those, but we've all got tiny gardens. There's no point, right? Can't even do a 3-point turn in my garden so small, right? So why do I need one of those? But I need to understand what is it that I don't know about a lawnmower, or outdoor lighting, or whatever it is you're buying, right? Yeah. You need to understand what those things are, and you need a guidance sometimes. Not everybody, but You know, there's always stuff that we don't know, but we don't know what we don't know.
That's true.
So if you can kind of go, these are the things you should know or you might want to know, you know, like, can I daisy chain a bunch of cables together? Well, I've already got a 2 meter cable. Well, you've got any 4 meter in stock. I'll just get 2 meter and plug them into. Is that okay? Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not safe.
Maybe it's very dangerous.
I don't know. You know, like, can I get a load of like those 3 or 4 way blocks and plug it into a 4-way cable? And I've got 16 things like a Christmas tree. Is that okay? Or is my house going to burn down? I don't know. How would I be expected to know that? I'm not an electrician, right?
Yeah.
So you as an e-commerce store, you need to help them with those things. But yeah, and with the, you know, the algorithm thing is, I think if you focus on the user, like really truly double down and focus on the user and that experience, then I don't think you're going to go too far wrong with algorithm updates, and steer away from this kind of, we see videos for it all the time and these gimmicks and just going, do this, and it's this like neat trick, and like the neat tricks and stuff and the kind of grey stuff that people do where, you know, if it feels a bit dodgy, if it feels like you're cheating or gaming the system, it works as long as it works. But when it doesn't, you're just going to get not penalised, but your rankings are going to drop, and then all your sales drop off, and then it's, you know, we're all crying in our beer, right? So I would just stick to basic marketing principles, but the user first, marketing, right? Marketing. There's your market. Do the marketing around the market. You know, create content, create pages for the user. And yes, you need to think about search engines. It's not duplicate content, you know, with multiple pages like we talked about before. But that's fundamentally, you know, look at the SERPs, look at which pages are ranking from your site and others, and look at those gaps. I think it's the important thing. And if you do start to see a sudden drop, so there's a site we work on which has just had a sudden drop kind of out of nowhere, and it's just Google has decided to display multiple pages from a manufacturer's website. So it hasn't kind of dropped behind 5 or 6 other competitors. What's happened is it's still behind the same competitors that it was. It's just they're getting more results in the SERPs for the manufacturer of the product. So we're kind of pushed down because it goes brand, Amazon, us. It's like, well, we're all the way down the page. Now, what will probably happen is Google will work out from the click data that users hate that, and it looks awful. I mean, it's a terrible set of search results.
Right.
And you look at it from a user's point of view, and like, why would I want to click 6 pages on the same domain? That doesn't make any logical sense to me, you know, especially as I can't even buy the product from there. So I can't even buy from there. So it doesn't help me. It's not helpful. So I think that will probably change and revert, and we'll see all the rankings come back again. But you know, that's where that is really. But anyway, going back to the algorithm. Yeah, the algorithm changes. I think it's if you're following best practice and you keep the content steered around the user, then it's unlikely you're going to have sudden and significant drops in rankings and traffic if you stick with that. And I think, you know, it's very easy to kind of latch onto one thing and focus on it. But I think always focus on the user would be my recommendation.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think just to add to that as well, what you should also really look out for with algorithm changes as well that I've been caught out on before is changes to the intent behind certain terms as well. Now, if your website performs really well for a number of high volume search queries or keywords that you really rely on and that you rank well for, keep a really keen eye on how Google understands the intent of that over time. Because if, for instance, that's a informational piece that you have around that and it gets you thousands of clicks in a month, for instance, if Google then reassesses that and considers that actually that's a commercial term and starts serving commercial pages for that instead, there's a high likelihood that your ranking for that is going to plummet, and you're going to lose all of that amazing traffic that you've worked hard for and rely on. So that would be one of my big tips as well. But I think what you've said around making sure that your pages are always optimized for the user is just really sound advice. So yeah, I'd echo that as well.
Yeah, well, I think you that stuff happens like quite often, right? And this is what I was saying before about product versus category page. Google suddenly decides the right type of result is a category page, and you don't have an optimized category page, then it's not going to, you know, what should ideally happen in that situation is when Google suddenly decides a product page isn't right, but a category page is, you should already have an optimized category page that goes, okay, well, we've got, and all that happens, the ranking stays about the same. It's just ranking a category instead of a product page, and it just switches them around. So I think you almost have to say you've got to optimize those things just in case. But also the category page might rank for other keywords that the product page doesn't. So again, if you've already done optimization, it's fine. But we had this significant change before for a client where, you know, they lost thousands of visits every month off of one keyword. And that genuinely happened, where it was a fairly new product market. It was an emerging product. People were starting to, you know, a lot of companies were springing up kind of supplying this product. And of course, the market awareness grew and grew. So the search volume grew and grew. Now, to begin with, Google kind of went, well, we don't know what this is, so we're going to treat it as informational. So when you search for the name of the type of product, it ranked, what is one of these? What do you do with this thing? How does it work? How does this work? So it was all like who, what, why, where queries, right? Informational. And what Google understood was it was informational. And then it felt like almost overnight, it decided, oh no, it's commercial. So then it was ranking pages full of, here are multiple products. It was like a category page on an e-commerce store.
Yeah.
And that just changed overnight. So how you kind of address that potential risk is to have the optimized category page, but also have the informational page.
Yeah.
And what should happen, as I said before, is that when Google's understanding is now, oh no, it's commercial, it's not informational, it should just rank the different page that you've already got optimized. So, you know, but it's tough. Sometimes you just have to go, oh my God, okay, I'm just gonna have to roll with it and optimize and build links and do all the other things that we would normally do, right?
Yeah,
so,
that's it.
Yeah, it's it's a pain, but that's life, right?
Yeah.
That's life in the SERPs. It's frustrating and it's annoying and we swear at it quite a lot, but that's just life sometimes.
Yeah.
There are things you can do to mitigate, but sometimes that kind of stuff happens and you just have to roll with it and then kind of go back to the coalface and start digging and fixing and optimizing and do all the things we do, right?
Yeah. Sage advice. Yeah. Cool. So thank you so much for watching, guys. My name is Nick.
And my name is Mark.
If you are interested in keeping up to date with our podcasts, on Spotify or on YouTube, yeah, thank you so much.
And wherever else you get your podcasts.
That's it.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Inside Digital Podcast. Make sure to visit our website at tillison.co.uk, where you can read more about topics discussed in this show and much more. If you're looking to get started or to continue your digital marketing journey, we can help. Just reach out to one of our experts through our website. We'd love to hear if you found value in this show. Please leave a review and be sure to tune in for our next episode.